Annyeong, this is Liam in for Bear. Anthropic's Claude code has a public GitHub repo. Everyone assumes it's the source code. We're going to clone it, count the files, and see what's actually load-bearing. The answer is not what you think. Up front, Claude code ships as a compiled binary. The public GitHub repo is not the source. What you get is 210 files, half of them markdown, a 248-line changelog documenting 353 releases, community plugins, deployment examples, and the scripts that manage the repo's own issue tracker. That's the public surface. The internals ship separately, compiled. This video opens every folder. Here's the repo, 210 files, 26 megabytes on disk. The first thing a serious reader asks isn't how many stars, it's where's the code. Let's start there. Extension breakdown, the actual inventory, 106 markdown files, that is half the repository, 21 shell scripts, 21 Python files, 8 Terraform configuration files, 5 TypeScript files, 0 compiled JavaScript, 0 dist folders. This is not a source repo. Folder inventory confirms it. Changelog, MD5, 248 lines. README, MD, 72 lines. Then examples, plugins, scripts, .claude commands, no src directory, no dist, no compiled output anywhere. If you came looking for the internals, the repo says plainly they are not here. The 5 TypeScript files are in script/ and they are not the tool, they are the issue tracker. Auto-close duplicates, triage labels, issue lifecycle, sweep. This is GitHub maintenance code, not Claude code internals. The source is not here, that's the finding. The changelog is 248 lines and documents 353 releases, from version 0 to 21 to 220. At this cadence, Anthropic is shipping Claude code roughly twice per day. That is the real clock in this repo, not the commit count, not the file count, the release velocity. Here's a real entry, version 219, the most detailed release in the top 10. Opus 5 added as default, a new network allow list setting, a directory added hook, 7 bug fixes across platform, keyboard, and session edges. This is the product's public interface. You are reading the surface of a compiled tool. The commit log has 222 entries across 6 months. Here's the monthly split. February through July 2026, 2 bars per month, total commits in ink, bot commits in terracotta. The bot is a GitHub Actions job that updates changelog, MD, every time a release fires. It dominates every month. Strip the bot, 46 human commits in 6 months. Not a slow team, this is a public surface repo mirroring internal releases. The actual development is happening elsewhere in a private codebase and arriving here only as changelog entries when the bot fires. Those 46 human commits are worth reading. AWS Gateway example, 964-line setup script, GCP Gateway rebrand, plugin updates, security guidance refresh, issue triage automation, reference artifacts and maintenance. This is what the public repo is for, not the binary but the surrounding infrastructure. But the plugins folder is worth your time. This is Ralph Wiggum. Its stop hook blocks Claude's exit and refeeds the same prompt if the completion promise hasn't been delivered. Real bash that ships in the repo, readable, adaptable. This is what you can actually run. And this is what a real content commit looks like. 843,297 F. Roy Arson adding the AWS Gateway example. 964 lines of shell that scripts the entire deployment end-to-end. ECS Fargate Secrets Manager IAM roles, provided as a working example to adapt, not a supported production deployment. That note is doing real work. Here's the verdict. The Anthropic/Claude code GitHub repo is a public ledger, not a source repository. The compiled binary ships separately. You use it every day. You never see its internals here. What you do get, 353 release entries that track every fix and feature since version 0. 21 community plugins you can clone and adapt, gateway deployment examples in Terraform and Shell. And the scripts that keep this repo's own issues organized. That's real value, it's just not the source code. Your turn, here's the prompt. Point this at any public GitHub repo you assume is the source code, a popular open source tool, a framework you depend on anything. Run git clone the repo, then find .type f excluding .git pipe to set to extract extensions, sort uniq-count, sort descending. Ask Claude what's load-bearing here, the code, the docs, or the config. Before you run it, write down your prediction. The gap between your prediction and the file inventory is exactly where the learning is. Take this prompt, run it on a repo you use every day. Liam in for Bear.